team in LJL who have had some glimmers of hope.
And it's important to note we split the IWC regions when they qualify for World this year, and if they knock out, if they beat the LJL right here, that's all three done. They've beaten Turkey, they've beaten Oceania, then they would have beaten the Japanese team as well. So they would have had a fantastic start to this tournament.
All right, final boss Japan. Can they be the wall? Will they be the gatekeepers to stop that from happening? We're about to find out. We're into the bans. Shen, Rengar, Lee Sin out from Japan, and Gangplank Zillion from SEA.
Yamato Cannon's question will be answered. When Gangplank and Zillion are removed, what does Seros do?
Azir.
Elise is still up as Dr. Mundo's banned out, as is Misfortune, by the way. Misfortune has been banned a whole lot this tournament, so you're expecting Azir.
Yeah, so Seros is actually just he understands the map really well. So anything that has zone control, you know, I make the circle joke, but Azir has this, I guess, radius that you cannot engage upon him, especially when he goes Rylai's Crystal Scepter, and Seros is a beautiful Azir player as well, so I expect him to default back to that. And Mueki, great Jinx player, there's a lot of synergy between the two of them.
Oh yeah, you can just have that big siege engine right behind the Azir. That's kind of what we wanted to see last game, in fact, behind the Cogmore. But do have the Rek'Sai first pick once again, seeing that come out, the priority jungler. Now on to the GPL side, seeing what they want to pick up. Toying with the idea of Lulu, there is a lot still open. As you mentioned, Misfortune is still a thing.
Yesterday as well, there was a high priority on Kalista for Southeast Asia. It was first rotation blue side, first pick blue side and first rotation. Red side, they're going to keep up with that trend. Again, the junglers are the safe pick. Rek'Sai and Elise are still top tier. As much as you can change everything else, the jungle remains the same, at least in comparison to Worlds. We'll see a few seconds before those get locked in.
Yeah, I would actually be surprised if SOFM showed his hand this early, because that's probably the biggest mismatch in this game. Rainbrain hasn't had the best performances so far. SOFM has looked like an absolute superstar out and out. So things like Evelyn, even aggressive junglers, I would expect him to be able to take in this game and try and dominate the map one more time.
Yeah, maybe even that Singe that we saw earlier, I would love to see did work on that champion. He was the hope for the Asian squad, but Kalista was also locked in with Tam Kench.
Ultimate Bravery has damaged all of our professional integrity because we like it too much. Yeah. We want it everywhere else.
We opened up if that was the problem.
We did. But if you look at the Ignite Smite, now I know that's a weird thing to say, but when SFFM ran that Lee Sin yesterday and got a bajillion kills, he had Exhaust Smite Lee Sin. So why not? If you have the ability and you can find those kills and you can punish, they can look at one of those options.
The reason I loved it is because he wasn't looking for the kicks in the team fight. He was running that over Red Smite and took Chilling Smite so he could catch up to people and make sure he was getting the 1v1 duel. So if you're looking for 1v1 potential, Exhaust is hands down the best summoner spell in the game to be able to secure those victories. And if you never team fight, then you don't need your flash.
Yeah, it's very true. We'll see what champion he locks in there. Either he really likes the pentakill song, Smite and Ignite, or he's a Shaco player. So we'll see what Japan pick up here.
Oh, I hope he's a Shaco player.
I don't. Lucian and Alistair will be the two pickups from Japan coming out here, and it's going to be Elise coming out for SOFM, you have to assume.
And still the flex power in the Rise as well. You know, G4 witnessed the power of Faker's Rise at the World Championships. Archie could take that up into the top lane, not traditionally your AP mage player, but that flex power will give them the ability to work around it. And Seros can run some options. He is known for his Cassiopeia from the LJL, but the Azir would still work quite nicely, give you some safety, and also boot away the Rise, who would have to run around the wall and find options.
Well, one thing I actually like about Cassiopeia Rise matchup, and I've been waiting to see this, so I hope G4 does take it into the mid lane, is Cassiopeia is also a great stand-in deliver mage. So if they ever go at each other, it will become a DPS race of who can burn the other one down first. And itemization changes for AP mid laners actually treated Cassiopeia very well. She can use Rod of Ages, Rylai's Crystal Scepter, a fantastic pickup for her, Burning Face as well, also a really good item. So we'll see whether able to get in that mid lane and really impact it.
Well, Cassiopeia has been locked in, so we are going to see that matchup that you wanted to see. Spawn, Rise, Cassiopeia in the mid lane, and Jax will be locked in as well for the LJL squad. And once again, seeing that Jax, I'm really interested to see what SEA will bring into the top lane to try and deal with that threat. They have the Tam Kench, can go top lane, but more likely in that support role, brings a lot in there, or they could just swap it up to the top lane and lock in the Thresh. So it's going to be Tam Kench.
So, Tam Kench, is this the answer with Grey Health to the Rage Blade spam that we are currently seeing?
I'm going to go with no. He's just going to get hit lots of times. Like, it might take Jax a little bit longer to kill him, but he will eventually die.
Well, the time in which Tahm Kench is able to eat Jax, you add that onto the time it's going to take him to kill him, and that's basically that versus the Malphite matchup.
Yeah. But Evie should still just be able to ignore a lot of the damage that will come out of Tahm Kench and see if he can whittle down the turrets. It's never really been about like winning the 1v1 with Jax. It's about burning through all those objectives, getting to that mid-game.
Now, if there is one thing to say, in addition to this Tahm Kench, while, yes, he may lose the 1v1, I don't know if it's going to be 1v1. We can see SOFM camping that top lane. We know how good he is in the early game. Moss almost single-handedly beat EDG with his early game roams. And then when it came to the team fight and the strategy stages, that was when, with the Bangkok titles, they fell apart. I'm not expecting that same level of combat in the mid to late game from the LJL. So if Moss and SOFM are able to get up there and impact that top lane, put Evie down, keep him behind the item curve, that's another way to beat them. So the 1v1, I see it, but I think if the strategy works out, if they focus that lane, it can work.
I certainly agree, and Moss is no stranger to roaming around the map with the Kalista as well as the Thresh matchup. If he gets him ahead early, we'll just be able to leave him alone and be able to impact everywhere else.
And the very first game that we saw from Southeast Asia yesterday had that sort of lane-cutting strategy between the inner turret and the inhibitor turret against Oceania. So let's see if they've got any level 1 shenanigans planned for this matchup. They could do a lane swap. They could, you know, play around with their lane assignments. So early game could be very important.
Do something a little funky to throw off the competition. We'll see if they actually go for that play. But LJL going right into their jungle. And meanwhile, GPL just go for the fans. So not going to see any level 1 shenanigans. Remember, the creep timers have been reduced by 15 seconds. So if they were going to go for something, then they probably would have done it by now.
Yeah,
I concur.
They were waiting for the lane cut. You can see that is exactly what they're expecting right there. With an Alistar, with a Jax, though. That's probably not a brush you want to face check. Just going to throw it out there.
I absolutely love this. And I know I keep harping on about this call from the GPL and SEA, but when you're in these slightly less serious tournaments where you've got players from all different teams, you throw that curveball out on the very first day, and now every team is considering it, weighing it up. Are they going to do it again? It's something that I think it transcends the strategy and the decision-making of just a single game and really brings it to the entire tournament.
Have they had 2 red side games? Because maybe it's just like, you know, blue side strat.
You're 100% correct. Southeast Asia have played 2 back-to-back red games now. Yeah. They were blue side yesterday against Oceania.
They just CLG, man. It's a blue side strat.
But the other teams don't know it. That's the beauty of it.
Preseason secrets.txt.
Well, we'll see. First blood goes to Saros in the mid lane. Just get that
first. It's not
first.
a kill. First damage.
Well, he's bleeding.
He is. His health is slowly bleeding out of him.
Okay, but then how can you use the same term that already has a predetermined
Alright, well, what would you use, Trevor?
First damage. First scratch.
That sounds
okay,
lame.
No, first scratch. Let's go first scratch. Because it implies the same thing. Scratches also bleed.
Wow, Saros is absolutely dominating G4 at the moment.
I don't think he's missed a Q yet.
He has Oh, well, there you go.
Well,
thanks,
Saros.
mate.
We're going to talk about a different lane now.
It's also circles again, right? Circle casting animations. Saros is pushing
miasma.
Moss is in trouble.
Well, taking the double tap in from Mueki. He's still good to go. Optimus is going to be the one on the front lines for now. Moss just has to regenerate a little bit of his health points before he can jump back in. Archie going to give Evie a little bit of a hard time. The minion wave is pushing towards him, so if Evie gets the freeze off here, that could be actually very annoying for Archie. Yeah,
one thing it is important to note about Tahm Kench top lane is his base stats are absolutely ridiculous. A lot of supports are, and that's why we used to see like Alistar running around in the top lane and still gives me nightmares. So Tahm Kench, kind of similar. Early game can start to bully people just because of how high those base values are on the Q.
Dark in the bottom lane. Sat on this Alistar with the Lucian. And we'll see how this matchup works out. SOFM does manage to locate Rain Brain in the jungle. And just trying to take out this Rift Scuttler. We'll be taking that one out. Have gone for the Hunter's Talisman to start off the game.
I want to see the interaction of when Archie swallows Evie's Jax while Counter-Strike is running.
So whether it still stuns
it from inside the belly, because we know that when he swallows a Garen, for example, his spin to win should still apply. But Rainbrain has found SOFM in the jungle. SOFM is going to be in a little bit of trouble, forced to flash over the wall. Rainbrain follows. Here comes Seros as well. What goes up must come down before it gets down. Seros is looking for the chase. Twin Fangs is not going to be able to be applied, but Evie's coming forward. The counter-strike is not going to deliver, but the auto-attack will. Now Archie, the catfish, will be served up for dinner. He's flashed over the wall, but everybody's used their flashes. They cannot chase further, and it's first blood, LJL.
Rainbrain had a tunnel right there. Like, it was right there. And he still flashed over the wall, but they do pick up first blood. Double buff will go over to Evie, and that is a very good thing.
Oh, Dara from literally nowhere. G4 with the reactions as well. Instantly flashes. And we do see the TP into the top lane as well. G4's not having a good time in mid lane. Seras, he knows his champion.
Is that just a question mark, Pink's fam? Like, you know, why is this guy in my lane? Yeah. Bottom lane, can you please control your roaming cow?
Yeah, apparently G4 doesn't have this flash now, and any repeat gank is actually probably going to result in the kill.
Well, talk about hard mode for Archie. Jax with first blood and double buffs at 4 minutes. This is going to be very, very difficult.
I mean, SOFM has to go top lane. Like, they know where he's going to go. Moss in the mid lane, though, will go for the flame, looking for the kill here. Seras will go down. That goes over to SOFM, and he will need to try and snowball that into the top lane as well, because it's not just the mid lane that's a threat. Evie, they need to do something.
And that's just relieving pressure for G4. He's down in CS already. Yes, there was a combat and some battle back and forth. Seras is running that cleanse to at least get out of the Rune Prison. But the problem is, if G4 decides to teleport to Archie's lane, if fights break out or down to Optimus, he's also going to have map pressure. So there's also pressure on Seras to get further ahead and accelerate, because he's not going to be able to impact the map.
Yeah, and speaking of that TP, that was actually just used into the mid lane as well. So that's going to be down for quite some time. That will be around 5 minutes, depending on what masteries he has as well. And it remains to be seen whether he's even going to go for Lucidity Boots. And we'll be looking towards those mana items first. That is really key for the Rise to get those 2 core items off the tier and the Catalyst.
And Evie has actually fallen behind a little bit in CS here, just because of how the wave was manipulated when he went and roamed and secured that kill. So unless they can get something else happening in this lane, Archie might actually be able to equal out the experience when this is shoved into turret. But Rainbrain is up here looking for the gank.
Yeah, I think as this mini wave resolves, he should be fairly caught up. But Rainbrain, literally, he doesn't necessarily need to go for the gank. He just needs to stay there, burrowed for the Tremor Sense, just to see if SOFM is going to go up there, because that would be the logical play. Archie looking for the Swallow, but doesn't quite get it off. Moss looking for another gank into the mid lane. Seras, remember, does not have his flash from the previous gank.
And Optimus being left alone. This is what we expected from Moss coming into the game. 2 roams in the last couple of minutes, 1 resulted in the kill on Seras. But you can see how much it's hurting Optimus. He's already down 15 CS in 6.5 minutes, and he has to play so defensively to respect the flash pulve engage.
Yeah, I was going to say, on the Bangkok Titans, when Moss does it, he does it with Lloyd. And as far as AD carries go that can 1v2, Lloyd is really good. Like, he took it to the Chiefs lineup in that final and was even winning some of the 1v2s on his Lucians. Optimus not having the same advantage, because Callista's kit requires you to have your support there to be able to do a lot of your work.
Yeah, Optimus is definitely going to need to transform his play style, because it is Decepticon and difficult to pull that off while Moss is looking to assist the rest of the solo lanes. So, you know, it is a tough task. He is falling further behind, but here comes Rainbrain to the top lane.
We're safe! This guy gets the knock-off! Archie's dropping low, but he doesn't even activate Thick Skin, and he just goes down. That's a kill over to Rainbrain. Doesn't really matter who picks up these kills. That top lane getting out of control.
Rainbrain, new favorite player world, has just come to the rescue of what was a horrendous sentence, but able to pick up a kill. And now you can see that the Japanese side has honestly got control over 2 of the 3 lanes. Sure, G4 has really secured a lot of pressure thanks to some great ganks, but now Rainbrain looking to transfer even more into the mid lane.
He wants to get this tunnel over. Need to be real quiet here. G4 is natural habitat.
It's a risky plan, Cotton. Let's find out how it works out.
Gaze off. We'll get the knock-up, and Seras with the petrifying gaze will pick up the kill. And a 1-0, another one over to Japan.
And this is why I always wanted to see this matchup, because both mid laners, when you gank for them, just output so much CC and damage that it's nearly impossible to run away. 2 great ganking junglers. You see 2 kills coming into that mid lane, but Seros picked up his.
Seras is dropping low as SOFM looking for this kill. We'll have to flash away. Another jump after by Evie though. And one more auto should seal the deal. We'll have to tank up this tower for a little bit. And SOFM is getting the kite off. One more tower shot and he goes down as well. SOFM bringing up the kill for the 1-for-1.
Does get the shutdown, but those mechanics out of Evie, wow, Moss.
It's not over yet. Moss and Optimus are in trouble. The two-man pulverize. Exhaust has been used. Moeki will not be able to get the follow-through damage. They traded flash, an additional flash on the LJL side.
Pretty work, pretty work. Archie is going to be taking up this blue buff though. While all that action was happening, he knew the position of the enemy jungler and will be taking away this blue buff. That will actually give him a nice edge in this top lane just to try and sustain himself. The mana is actually fairly nice for Tam Kench, and we'll be going back up there. So, Rainbrain has read that, has not gone towards the enemy blue.
And we have to step back. Rainbrain's having a great game. This is a big turnaround from yesterday's performances where we felt he was somewhat lacking. 1-0-3, keeping himself relevant. He's had some very good ganks, and he's going toe-to-toe with SOFM, who honestly looked like the best jungler of the day yesterday.
Yeah, certainly did. Able to have a couple of dominating performances against the Chiefs. He just against the Oceanic lineup. He just deleted Radiant time and time again.
Autopilot for you this one.
Here's their jungle, their bottom laner. And then that Lee Sin game, as we keep mentioning, was just out of control. And now Seros has some more control over the lane. Picked up that catalyst, and G4 has to be careful.
Really does. And this mid lane, literally every time the jungler comes, a kill is gonna happen. Like, it could be the jungler, it could be the mid laner, but it's gonna happen. And
Top lane dive.
I was thinking about it. Evie, the jump after, should be able to get the swallow up and eats up Jax. And there's the execute as well from the venomous bite, and that's just an easy kill by the bug.
Really nicely played. It was just literally a walk up, deliver. Nice flash from Archie meant that he secured the kill. And now Moss, once again, top side of the map, looking to make some more plays. Maybe go for a Rift Herald and see if they can start pushing out some of these lanes.
Oh, SOFM with the steal onto the Merkwolf. Murky is actually zoning away Optimus right now from the tower. But the fact that his support is in closer proximity to him allows him to do this and should be able to get a little more damage onto this turret.
And the problem is, this strategy of Moss roaming has not paid off. He's got 1 assist to his name. He's cost his AD carry a 20 CS deficit. Now, the trade-off is that G4 does have a 10+ CS advantage. So there is a small win, but I simply don't think it's enough. When you've got a 2-2-1 Jax, he's going even on farm. Yes, we expected him to do quite well in this matchup with Tam Kench. SOFM's not ganked for him. SOFM has been somewhat quieter, trying to maybe farm the jungle a little more than the lanes.
I love it. 3 kills, 11 minutes. Yeah, quiet performance out of SOFM so far. Just hasn't been active at all. But you were absolutely correct. At this point last time we saw this lineup play, they were going berserk everywhere. As soon as he had his ultimate, was looking to make plays. This is what I was talking about. Seros just looks so comfortable zoning mid laners out. The LJL are looking for the Rift Herald.
Oh wow, actually got it over to Evie as well. So this will actually be very difficult to deal with. Gwynsu's has been completed as well. That was on this last back. Looking for this mid lane gang. Literally just stood there for a second looking at Chief and was like, oh, pink ward. Yeah.
That's an example of miscommunication. They actually use that pink ward to sweep out another pink ward. So the whole LJL lineup should have noticed there, but Optimus
is kiting back, Muaki taking a bunch of damage, but now kiting back into the fight, and maybe on a different page, because Optimus will auto-attack the minion, looking for the Rends as well, does get the reset on that one, and Moss straight into the box, looking for the auto, connects the death sentence, but will it be the death sentence for Muaki? Yes, it will be, as he picks up the kill, and Optimus still kiting back, Rainbrain coming into the bot lane, the headbutt, the pulverize into the tower, and into Rainbrain, picks up the kill.
Rainbrain's honestly having a really good game right now, has been at the right parts of the map at the right time, a little bit of an overcommit there from Mueki. You saw he went back and spent up a lot of that gold. Wow.
Sidestep the petrifying gaze. G4 managing to outplay Seros for the time being. Does not get the kill, but he did not expend his flash, and Seros used the cleanse. So Seros gets away to live another day, but will not be picking up a lot of that CS.
And here we have Rainbrain again.
Oh, the Void Rush coming out, the flash and the knock-up, but instantly flashed away from G4. Those have been 2 flashes that have been fantastic from G4
yeah,
so far this game.
absolutely on point so far. One on the Alistair, the second one on the Rex side. Both of them are nearly instantaneous, and he has not been scared to expend that cooldown. Keeps himself safe one more time.
You can see Evie, no teleport available. He was moving his way towards that mid lane. And because of the time he spent out of lane, it's allowed Archie to continually shove in. Seems like a little bit of a challenge. He's flashed for it.
Archie not going to have a good time here. Should be able to get the stun, though, with the tongue lash. And Evie actually taking a bunch of damage with the Rage Blade, which is superior. Oh! 1-for-1. Tam Kench actually goes toe-to-toe with Jax.
Yeah, and Jax used the flash. So that's technically really bad for them, because all of a sudden the roams from the Jax, that leap strike flash that we saw, so effective. Moeki.
Oh! I think he's still dead. No, he's not even dead. Moss. Yeah, definitely on two different pages of him.
Went for the Mad Life. He thought he was going to flash and just misread the situation. A little bit unlucky.
Well played by SOFM for landing the cocoon, and unfortunate that Moss wasn't able to follow that one up.
Well, they're both trying to make plays at the same time. That was the problem.
Good hands from Moeki. Caught the cocoon.
Very, very good hands. Moeki, of course, as a reminder for everybody, subbed in there for Meron right at the beginning of the tournament. And he's been playing very, very well. He actually played with the LGL team on their farewell event and had a great game on Vayne. He's doing very, well in lane for the time being, but with all the pressure and multiple ganks, that CS advantage he built up has now dropped. G4, he has a teleport as well.
Well, the CC goes down onto G4 for a split second, and Archie comes into the fight. Should have heeded Spawn's warning. Oh, he's still alive. He's still quite tanky. Rainbrain now comes to the fight, gets death sentence by Moss. SOFM looking for the kill here, will jump backwards, uses the Lantern to get back to safety. Now it's just a 1-for-0 over to Japan.
Archie's like, SOFM, stop stealing my creeps, mate. I am eating you until I can secure this cannon. But it will mean a dragon for the Japanese lineup. See whether the GPL can get anything in response.
Seros off to the side, looking for the flank. Still doesn't have the petrifying gaze, but still has flash. Looking for the ultimate to come through. The flash instantaneous by Seros, but he still may go down, and indeed he will. The Ren comes out from Optimus. That will be the kill coming down. Evie now trying to get away from the onslaught that is SOFM, and Archie activates the counter strike, and Dara just taking a minion on the way out. We'll get the extra heal down.
Here comes Rise. They need to keep running because G4 is on the hunt.
The rest of GPL are moving their way in. The tower will be exposed once this minion line does conga its way down. Great play from Moss, Optimus, and Archie to pick up that kill onto Seros. They didn't manage to get more other than this tower, but it was very well played. Moss chases his way in, lands an easy flay exhaust, and just great smaller skirmish communication in that scenario, unlike when Archie had made his way to that middle lane earlier.
Yeah, in the end it was a 1-for-1 trade if you look at the grand scheme of things, and it was the dragon picked up for the LJL, so still not horrible news, but you're right, just a little bit. Oh, G4.
That's quite a bunch of damage. He's just trying to zone him away from the turret as SOFM puts down the autos onto the tower, but the tower lives for another day.
Yeah, walking up and just tanking it there, G4, daring Rainbrain to go in on that, but decides not to, and eventually Archie will lick that turret to death.
It's erosion.
I was quite surprised to see that GPL squad didn't actually group to try and push that tower down with the previous minion wave, but
look at him go.
No real damage done. As Archie does eat it like a giant popsicle and increase the turret lead to 2. Evie will reply. There's simply no ways this top lane tower will survive very long. And this is the second herald of the game that the LJL squad have picked up. In actual fact, when they played 5.2...
It's not going to be. It's going to kill them both. Oh, wow.
It did go to Rainbrain, but when they did play their little show matches, the LJL All-Star squad put a lot of priority on that Rift Herald, and it's showing through again here today.
But the difference was they gave it to Seros, and they haven't done that at all. They didn't do it in the first game that they played, and they haven't done it in this one, really. They're definitely being given towards the jungler or even Evie. Void Rush once again used to the mid lane. Won't be going for an immediate gank. Looks like the GPL squad is rallying towards the mid lane right now. But a couple items have been completed. Rod of Ages in from Seros. Still haven't hit the second item yet from Evie. Going towards the Blade of Ruin King, actually. Another deviation on the item build.
Oh, Rainbrain sneaks away the scuttle grab.
That's actually quite a big deal.
And whilst we're talking about item builds, G4 has been forced into an MR purchase before he finished his Rod of Ages. So he's going to be significantly delayed on what you would think would be a very strong part of the game for Rise. And this is something that the Turkish lineup couldn't do against the GPL. The Japanese lineup have put their hands up and said, we don't want to really fight right now, although Dara seems to look like he does.
Archie still on that front line, still taking a bunch of damage. Optimus going back to base. has finished his bid of the Ruin King.
Yeah, so I feel like the GPL, they just degrade the game and bring it back to very heavy team fighting. Like, they want to be consistently skirmishing, and Turkey kind of couldn't deal with that. Japan has really taken a big step back here and kind of, they secured Rift Herald. They took the top lane turret in a trade because they know their Jax will scale superiorly. Like, they even managed to secure their blue buff and get some good vision wards up at the entrances of their jungle. Really just don't want to let the GPL accelerate the game how they want to.
It's also difficult for GPL to engage onto the LJL with the Cassiopeia, with an Alistar, hell, even a teleporting Jax. All of the AoE CC that they can bring to a party is very detrimental to a fairly linear approach from GPL. The strongest engage they have is either Tahm Kench delivering himself behind with the Abyssal Voyage, or the Fate's Call from Kalista. So outside of that, it's fairly easy to land those skill shots, and I think GPL are paying the proper respect to Japan.
100% agree. Normally you just say flash Rune Prism with Ryze, go, but when you have a Cassiopeia on the other team, and she just turns around and screams at you, definitely not a choice. Although Moss, wow, that was a dangerous base check.
Yeah, Moss is still in enemy territory though. He should be good though as he goes back into the bottom lane, but it's so difficult for either team to engage on the other team because you have Tahm Kench to save, you've also got Optimus on Mars, you go for him, SOFM's just going to jump up in the air. The only person you can really kill is G4 if you get the jump on him, and so far he's been on point with the flashes, has that back up once again. Rainbrain looking to take down the bottom lane, but Mars also there with the Lantern. It's so difficult to make picks for both of these teams. This is very much turned into an objective-based game, which Japan is leading in very slightly.
Yeah, 20 minutes on the clock, only 1,000 gold lead. 1 tower extra for GPL versus 1 dragon for LJL. And one thing I'm learning as well throughout the course of this game is just how many words we use that rhyme with brain. It just keep brain, lane. You'll hear it,
Gains.
trust me. Now that I've said it, you'll start to hear it, I'm sure. So,
Okay.
Small distraction.
I
as
like it.
The lanes have reset themselves.
New mission for the rest of the game.
And
damn it.
See? And Evie has got himself that Blade of the Ruin King to back up the Rage Blade. So 1,400 hit point Jax with Lifesteal and Rage Blade versus a 3,000 hit point Catfish with Warmogs and Armor. Let's see who wins. I'm so glad we talked about this because
It's going to take a while.
it is.
It looks like Jax is winning.
It is winning.
Yep. Got him. There we go. So we have determined that Jax beats Tahm Kench.
Archie actually made a mistake there. He swallowed a minion because he cancelled an auto attack when he wanted to swallow the Jax. So he took a heck of a lot more damage than he ever thought he was going to. So I think that even though Evie got the best of that, that wasn't Archie's best performance. We'll give him one more crack.
That's one of those fights where you can't really play by play. It's more like you just have to see who's winning.
Yeah.
Because it's just over time as the auto attacks come in from Jax.
But this is what I love. This is a wet noodle fight, but we've just given them like big poles as G4 teleports in.
Yeah, looking for Muoki. Actually just turns the corner. SOFM locks him down. The CC chain is brutal. Muoki wasn't even able to get out of that teleport. Now coming in from Archie as well. Looking to chase down Evie on the front lines. Able to jump back with a leap strike. Meanwhile, this is the pincer movement coming in from GPL. Moss pumps down the box and the flash and the knock up onto Moss as well. I'm not sure all these resources are the best thing to do. Dara trying to zone away the threat, and that's already Evie going down. Muoki's already down for the count, remember. That's the flash. Both some of the spells used from Seros, and now Archie will be using his ultimate behind the retreating members of Japan.
The LJL team, they're being torn to pieces as they was caught out by GPL. Seros gets one before being taken down himself. The snake is greater than the spider, and the GPL have dove 2 turrets to get themselves the kills. They will take one of them in reply, and Minion Wave pushing out. GPL with a strong end to what looked like a scary fight.
Yeah, it certainly does, and they're not done yet. G4 is still here, decides better than to engage on Rainbrain, but they grab the turret. They'll also get themselves a first dragon of the game, and this is not what they were doing yesterday. They're finally turning kills into objectives, and that really is the next step for this GPL region. If they can start getting the fights they want, but then get other things off the map, they'll be able to accelerate the pace of the game and really snowball themselves to victory.
Yeah, I really like how they've just adapted to a different scenario. Before, we saw LATAM adapt in item builds. Now we're seeing GPL adapt in terms of macro play. And it's just great to see from these teams, literally just going from day 1 to day 2. I'm excited to see what happens by day 3 and day 4, but we're going to see the last fight again, because it was quite prolonged.
Yeah, it certainly was, and it's a big pincer attack because of the pick that did go down onto Muoki, and Dara does a great job of zoning people off. But Jax is really squishy with this build. If he doesn't get on top of someone, he's just not going to make it work, as SOFM might be caught.
Yeah, called out by Dara here, looking for that CC to land and trying to get the repel. He goes up and comes back down on top of the Krugs, and G4 tries to assist his ally. He is able to get the kite off, but not before Dara slams him with the combo. Mueki will get revenge and pick up the kill. The shutdown goes over to him. Extra bunch of gold in his pocket now on those 2 items. Hit a major power spike. Optimus has picked up Moss, and Moss is like, see ya, I'm out of here.
Yeah, and that's a very important cooldown. One thing we have to point out of the LJL's team is how quickly they do Baron. Rage Blade, Blade of the Ruined King Jax, they've got Serahos here on Cassiopeia, and they've started it up.
Yeah, Serahos is a little out of position. He's trying to run interference. The Death Sentence doesn't connect. Baron is below half hit points, and they've killed this OFM. The Smite threat is away. Optimus is looking to get one back onto Evie, and that will do a lot to help out the fight. Baron will help out in securing the kill, but it's picked up by LJL. Now GPL are on the retreat. They're in trouble. The Southeast Asian squad has Archie that's going to get nommed. He finds a lantern before anything can happen. And still the mid tower stands. That's an untouched mid tower. For how much longer?
That's 2 for 1 and the Baron. We mentioned how quickly they can tear through those structures, and they can't stick around right now because LJL look like they still want to fight.
Yeah, LGL, they're healthy enough if they could maybe take another turret, but G4 is also just as healthy, and he's got a big power spike. Meanwhile, on the top lane, there's a gigantic minion wave being pinged by multiple members on Japan, so they will go back to base. A couple of them will start buying up some items as well. And Optimus is going to be helping out taking this blue buff, but after the dust has settled, now Japan is ahead very slightly in terms of gold, but we need to see how much they can do off the back of that Baron, how much of a Baron power play they can create.
Yeah, certainly do, and we also need to keep an eye on these items. Evie starting to get tankier. The Infinity Edge will be finished up quite soon for the Lucian player. He's already got all the cooldown reduction that we see in the build, and the Death Cap was finished up by Seraph with the passive. That's just going to give him so much AP at this stage of the game. So
coming into the matchup, we'd said how Southeast Asia and GPL, if they'd taken out the Japanese squad, would have been all of the respective teams in the IWC, if memory serves. Q, which the IWC event for Worlds. And yesterday, in terms of scaling for this event, IWC-A, Japan lost to Brazil, beat Oceania. We're starting to see these power lines being drawn where GPL was also relatively high up and expected to do well. Now LJL have got Baron, they've got a stronger looking Jax. They might be taking down one of the sort of top tier teams at the event.
The LJL is my favorite storyline in League of Legends right now. They are literally Goku. They're all on their way to Namek at IWCI. You know, he was practicing his Kaioken. It failed. Like, he couldn't take out Frieza. Then all of a sudden they fight again. He's like, this isn't even my final form. Gets blonde hair, you know, comes back even stronger. Right now they're showing that the evolution continues. It's back brown for some reason, has grown another tail, but right now the LGL are proving that with very limited resources, they're becoming quickly a wildcard region to be feared.
Yeah, I love watching Japan because over the last couple wildcard tournaments, we saw them get progressively better, but we asked the question, is that just a blip? Are they going to get better and better? Right now they're playing against the GPL and have done quite well and gotten better in this tournament.
And honestly, the scariest thing is, it's not for either of these two teams. They're both starting to play phenomenal League of Legends. It's a Turkish and Oceanic lineup that the gap seems to be widening there. Brazil, they seem to be the S+, and these two teams right now look to be very, very coordinated in their play. Heck, you could even throw Latin America right now, who look phenomenal in team fights. And the Turkish and Oceanic lineup's just not carrying the same weight.
Their day-opening performance was fantastic from LATAM. Evie is looking once again for another sushi dish. Archie will swallow him.
G4's coming.
Not the grey health just yet. Swallows and throws him, regurgitates back towards the lane. G4's moving out, but with all of the threat and the two members of the GPL up top, this opens up a tower to be taken by LJL in the mid lane. Teleport is available for Evie. He's got a lot of hit points to play. Then look at this very intelligent rotation to the top lane. Stay grouped, they've even found a fight.
Yeah, looking for the Rune Prison here, but it's Archie who's being caught out. Remember, he still has the thick skin, so he's got another health bar to chew through. That's the box coming down for the disengage in from GPL. Dara tanking up the front lines with the Unbreakable Will. Ward goes over the wall for additional information in from GPL. Top tower's now being rotated on by the LJL lineup, and the minion wave should be gone. Moss looking for the hook, lands it onto Saras. This will be the full-on engagement. They jump into the fight. They're going underneath this tower. G4 dropping so incredibly low. Moss as well, and it's still going for the fight. Archie's now back in there, into the back lines, and SOFM off to the side, but it's clearly GPL who are getting the better of this fight. Dara tries to play the sacrificial lamb, looking for the hook, doesn't quite connect, and Seras looking for the kill onto Moss, doesn't quite get it.
Now it's not over yet. Evie gets get one back into G4, flashes away, but the poison is ticking. He's going to survive for a few seconds longer as SOFM does sink the fangs in. And 4 members of LJL are down, and the GPL thwart the Baron fight, and they defend the top tower.
And I was going to say, that was so well played from the GPL the initial time, because they did not burn ultimates. Archie just absorbed all of the damage, made sure he could teleport back in. They chunked out a couple of health bars, and as you can see, everything is available apart from Moss's ultimate at the start of this fight. G4 lives through all of the damage, and then the turnaround is just unrelenting.
Well played by the GPL. Optimus kept alive, skirting around, and you know, Seros did a pretty good job of surviving throughout the fight, but the problem is LJL did not have the same target selection to focus down one champion at a time from the GPL, and they just got overrun. You can see how low everybody was on the side of GPL, and a little bit of team fight miscommunication from the LJL. Spawn, you talked about the idea of falling backwards is always more difficult than going forwards. And that's what we saw exactly in that team fight.
Especially when you're on a champion like Ryze or Kalista, it's really obvious. Just, you do that much damage, hit the target that you are chasing that is directly in front of you. On the other side though, when you've got these beefy champions that you have to pick and choose between, especially when you're falling back, there's different terrain, it's very hard to coordinate. And you could kind of see that because some were running down lane, some were splitting through the jungle, and they actually split quite nicely in the end, but the GPL just were way too quick.
And after all of that, GPL are actually still behind by just over 1,000 gold. In terms of turrets, they are also behind 1, but leading in dragons. However, the fact that LGA have taken 1 dragon, getting 5 dragons is going to take a damn long time.
Oh, yes. And also the stats are actually relevant for the LJL, right? At this point, with all the itemization, you're hitting 3, you know, some cases almost 4 items completed. And for the LJL, this is another example of just really intelligent play in terms of how they got the Baron, how they got their lead. That even after a big fight, but now they cannot crack. They cannot make another mistake like that because it will cost inner turrets, Baron in 30 seconds, and GPL is making it very clear. Look at all of the vision in the top 2 quadrants of the map.
Yeah, and both teams just have such phenomenal Baron control. I cannot stress that enough. GPL tear through it just as quickly as we saw the LJL do as well. So it needs to be heavily warded at this stage of the game. 30 minutes in, you can see GPL won it as soon as it spawns.
Yeah, Evie is in the bottom lane, and only now are Japan rallying towards the area. I think this is a little too late, honestly. And with Seras leading the pack, he could easily get caught out by Archie, who's sitting there. Rainbrain now just trying to shoot out a couple haymakers, just trying to connect the Prey Seeker to get some vision. Yeah,
the power from Rainbrain's Tremor Sense is going to be very, very game-changing. Evie has teleports available. He can destroy towers. There is a TP from G4, which is why he's left the lane. But Rainbrain, he's decided to engage.
Oh, but looking for the knockup. It's going to be Dara going in there first, and another knockup. It is the bounty castle of Engage, but now G4's on the bottom side of the fight, unloading on the back line. Rainbrain trying to get the zone out, and Evie's jumped on top of him. Should be able to get this kill, but it's still hammering down with that trophy cup. Meanwhile, the rest of his team has disintegrated. Dara and Milwaukee went down for the count. That's a 3-for-2 over advantage to the Japanese team.
And all of a sudden, they can potentially look at the Baron because Evie is so healthy. He's level 17 at the moment, 2 levels higher. Actually, Optimus is level 16. How the heck did that happen, Optimus? 7-0-3, quite a good scoreline there. And you can see that, once again, split focus, very good from the LPL region.
Yeah, and despite Evie getting that 3, almost 4-man stun in the fight, because of the battle on 2 fronts, he was just able to get focused down.
Yeah, he certainly was. And you see that he dives in here, gets a great counter-strike when it looks like he's going for G4, and it's followed up beautifully by Seros, who just unloads. Unfortunately, G4 cannot deal with all of the persistent chase and can't burn through the jacks. But Optimus is doing a great job of positioning in these team fights and making sure he is always safe from the Cassiopeia.
Yeah, 7-0-3. You cannot ask for much more from your AD carry in this game. Still has both of his summoner spells, by the way. He's positioning so immaculately that he hasn't had to burn a single summoner. On the opposite side, look at Milwaukee. He still has his flash as well. He did die in that last fight. Now sitting on triple items and boots of lucidity, so he is at full cap on the cooldown reduction.
Yeah, and the thing is that because third item is Infinity Edge on Lucian, he gets this amazing jump at like the 30-minute mark. All of a sudden, Mueki is so much stronger than he was in the last team fight, and this can catch teams off guard because just going to, especially with the Light Slinger passive, crit is so crucial on Lucian.
Once again, we're posturing over the Baron area. GPL are the ones first to the scene once again, but it's the Japanese team who have managed to secure the vision around the area with those pink boards.
It feels like a European LCS game with teams dancing around the Baron pit, playing with vision, and it'll be interesting to see how the vision continues to evolve with the removal of the green wards from the item store. You can see there are 2 Oracles, 2 Sweepers on the side of LJL, 3 Oracles on the side of GPL.
That is
yesterday we were seeing as high as 4.
Such a late tier out of Seros. That's 206 stacks at 33 minutes in the game.
Yeah.
Must feel like he needs a little bit more defensive capability, but I don't understand why he didn't go the Rylai's Crystal Scepter.
Yeah, I mean, now he can spam with the extra mana pool that he's got from the Rod of Ages, but it's a little late. It feels like an oversight. He wanted other stats earlier, but we'll see how it works. If this game goes like for another 10 minutes, it will be an item pick that will have paid off. If it goes for 5, then it will have not.
Let's find out in the next episode of LJL versus GPL. Rainbrain knows better than to play with G4. G4 does have teleport, Evi does not. Now the shoe is on the other foot as the GPL can play the map game. They've already started the threat of Baron Secure, and obviously with Kalista plus Smite from SOFM, in theory, they should have an advantage, although we did see a Kalista lose Baron yesterday, so there's always room for outplay, and G4's already secured an inner turret.
Yeah, so we got the turret, but this is actually smart as maybe they're looking for the fight.
Well, they're going to jump in. Evi immediately jumps on top of SOFM, but Archie is there to save him and eats him up with the W. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, G4 is sieging down this turret. Actually, is also like to do a lot of damage. All the AP being converted into tower damage. Meanwhile, LJL have started the Baron and are forcing the issue. Moss looking for the hook, doesn't connect onto anybody. Jax will be jumping back to his team. G4 jumps into the fight again. An incredible flash, but into the open arms of Rainbrain, who immediately knocks him up. That will be the Fate's call, saving Moss for a second. Archie maybe not so lucky, and Ultimus definitely not. Archie swallows Ultimus, flashes over the wall, tries to save his AD carry. The Pierce will carry him over that small terrain.
What?
And unbelievable, GPL managed to survive with only 1 casualty.
But the LJL coming up massive one more time. A little bit of a mispositioned teleport out of G4 means that they clean him up straight away. And that flash headbutt pulverize from Dara was absolutely beautiful. They grab another Baron and extend some of their map control.
Yeah, this will be traded for a dragon, however, for the GPL, but it's going to take so long for them to stack up 5 dragons. They will have to stall their hearts out. And in terms of wave clear, they're literally just looking at G4 to make that happen. LJL with this Baron, this could be crushing.
Certainly could be, and I just love how they started up that Baron, because they knew if G4 stays in that bottom lane, he's going to kill Rainbrain, he's going to take the turret and the inhibitor, and the teleport wasn't available at that stage. There was no way they could get Evi back to base to deal with him. So instead, force the objective, make them come to you, ask the question, and they come up with the wrong answer.
Just exceptional mechanical plays throughout then the team fight that followed, because the GPL, they had to make a play, and unfortunately for G4, just didn't have the support from the rest of his team to back up that teleport. So LJL, they've started the siege. A gigantic minion wave in both top and bottom is pushing towards the GPL, but it will take a long, long time. So the ticker is on. Death sentence finds Rainbrain. The GPL do not engage. Dara does.
Dara jumps in, trying to take this tower. This is the main objective for the Japanese lineup. Archie is still in the middle of the team, tanking up all that damage, but G4 goes down. This could be the tipping point for this team fight, and Japan are still on the offensive. The E comes out, and Moss will get to safety. Optimus still getting back to base, but that was a 2-0 fight for Japan, and they are going for the jugular. They are going right for the win, and that is so much damage to the turret. They even go underneath the Nexus turret. Moss goes down, Optimus kiting back, SOFM also trying to do the same, and Optimus, this could be the game here, Quickshot.
LJL, they've done it. They're onto the Nexus. They're going to take out Optimus on the reply. SOFM retreats with the web between his legs, and Japan has taken down Southeast Asia.
What a performance out of the LJL team to just be able to put a big stop to what was a rolling Southeast Asia juggernaut yesterday. And honestly, their mechanical skill and teamfight coordination just improved as the game got on. As soon as Moeki had that Infinity Edge, he just started ripping through the whole of the Southeast Asian region.
So, Tom Kenshin to Jax. Answer, no.
Yep.
Also, Moss and SOFM did not have the same level of impact that we have seen from previous performances. And LJL just played